Hey guys, well, it's time for another episode of Mrs. Ellis Teaches You Math. Okay, so today's episode, really? Episode, really? No, not really. Okay, anyway, we just want to try and make this some fun, right? So today we're learning about comparing and ordering rational numbers. So a rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. So, if it can be written as a fraction, it's a rational number. And that can be found in your notes that are online. Your notes. Okay? So, when you read a number line from left to right, the numbers are in order from least to greatest. Did you know that? Yes, they are. Remember, negative numbers are on the left of 0 and positive numbers are on the right of 0. So, when you're looking at a number line, here's your positive, and here's your negative. Positive numbers are greater than 0. That means they're bigger than 0. And negative numbers are smaller than 0. They're a lot tinier. An integer is a positive and negative whole numbers, including zeros. An integer, let me say that again. An integer is positive and negative whole numbers, including 0. A rational number, any number that can be written as a fraction. I'll say it again. Rational number, any number that can be written as a fraction. Guess what? There are 4, count them, 4 words here with definitions. That's 4 vocabulary words right here on this one page. You might want to know them. I'm just going to say that. And on the other page, there's 2. Okay, so when ordering rational numbers, it's easier to change a fraction to a decimal than it is to change a decimal to a fraction. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something. Normally you don't hear Miss Ellis say this, and you're going to hear Miss Ellis say this. I do not care if you use a calculator. It's okay to use a calculator right now. I don't care. It's okay. Really, it is. Use a calculator. But first, you need to know how. And do you remember how? I wonder. So we have 3 examples at the bottom of our page. We have 1/4. We have 4/5. And we have 3/8. 3 fractions that need to be turned into decimals. Now, the first one, I personally don't even need a calculator for, because 1/4 is 1/4 of a dollar, and 1/4 of a dollar, or 1/4 of a dollar, is 0.25. Wow, that one was easy. But let's have a review. We have a numerator. That's our top number, in case you forgot. And we have a fraction bar, and then we have a denominator. That's our bottom number, just in case you forgot. Now, our fraction bar tells us to do something. And I hope a lot of you at home are sitting there yelling out what it tells us to do. But in case you've forgotten, I'm going to remind you. Our fraction bar tells us to divide. Divide. We want to divide. And remember, when we're dividing, it's top in box. Okay? So top in box. So on number 2, top in box, look like this. Will 5 go into 4? No, 5 won't go into 4. So what do I do? Oh, I add a decimal, right? Put a 0 above my 4 because 5 won't go into 4. Will 5 go into 40? Yes, 5 will go into 40. How many times? 8. And 8 times 5 is 40. So the decimal for 4/5 is 0.8. Okay? Now for 3. 8 won't go into 3. Nope, nope, nope. Will 8 go into 30? Yes, yes, yes. How many times? 3 times to get 24. Will 8 go into, add a 0 and bring it down, 60? Yes. How many times? 7. That's 56. 60 minus 56 gives me a 40. 40. 0 and 375 thousandths. Now, there's nothing wrong if you want to put this in the calculator. 3, division sign, 8, enter, and you will get an answer. It's okay. I am saying right now, it is okay. Listen, it is okay to use a calculator. I'm saying it's okay, okay? Make sure you remember how to do it, but it is okay, really. I'm not going to get mad at you. Now, what we want to look at is this. To erase what I just did. Oh, get rid of all that. We want to look at some examples. So, actually, let's go on with the notes because that's how it's set up in your copies. Okay, so let's look at the notes. So the next page of notes, opposites and absolute value. Opposites. Well, we all know that opposites attract, right? Yeah, we've all heard that, right? Opposites attract. Well, that's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about opposite numbers. So, opposites are two numbers that are the same distance from 0 on the number line. So the opposite of -2 is 2, and the opposite of 5 is -5. Okay? These are opposites. Because if you looked at them on the number line, they are each, -2 and 2 are the exact same distance from 0 on the number line. And 5 and -5 are the exact same distance from 0 on the number line. Those are opposites. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about is absolute value. And it's represented by bars. Okay? Absolute value is positive. Absolute value is a number's distance from 0. Forgot to write from. Okay? So, with this said, when you're doing absolute value, there's going to be a number here. So I'm going to show you. If I have to find the absolute value of -2, how far is -2 from 0? How many spaces would I have to walk? How many units would I have to walk to get to 0? 2. Okay? What about the absolute value of 6? How many units would I have to walk from 6 to get to 0? I would have to walk 6. And it's still positive, okay? And I always use this example when I'm talking about absolute value, is I use it as miles. Okay, if I'm talking about miles, then I have the same distance of miles from my house to school as I do from school to my house, okay? It's just, and it doesn't matter if we use my house as 0 and I go 15 miles one way or 15 miles the other way, it's still 15 miles. It doesn't matter, okay? 15 miles is 15 miles no matter which way I go. I'm not going to take any miles off my odometer. It's still going to be 15 miles, okay? So that's what we need to think of. Now, there's one time, sometimes, that they like to try and trick you up. And that's when they do this. Let me get a different color other than green. Use me some purple. Because we all like some purple in our lives, right? Okay, so here we go. Purple. Here we go. You might see problems that look like this. What is this? Look, it's different. If you've been in class with me already, you know. This means the opposite of the absolute value of -5. So what is the opposite of the absolute value of -5? Well, the absolute value of -5 is 5. So the opposite of that would be -5. Boom. Okay, so there you go. Not too hard, okay? So what we're doing this time around is pretty easy. It's not super difficult for us, but we are going to look at some examples, okay? We're going to look at some examples that are not included right there on the notes, but that I have kind of included for you all on your in your notes packets, okay? So ordering positive and negative numbers. So they gave you some numbers, and they look like this. They're pretty simple numbers for you all. -5, 4, 0, -3, -6, and 2. Boom. So what is the smallest number here? And we can make a number line. Make me a number line. 0, 1, 2, -2, -3, 4, -5. It's always easiest, I think, if you make a number line so you can make dots above those numbers and then you can figure out which order they go in. So I have -5. Mark that one out. -6. Mark that one out. I should do this in order though. I have 4, 0, -3, and 2. So now I can write them in order. -6, -5, -3, 0, 2, and 4. And there you go. It's always easier if you use a number line to help you. Now, the other thing that you need to be able to do here, so let's look at another one. I'll use the back side here. No, we're not. So our numbers are 9, -1, -6, 2, -10, 0, 5, and 8. Here's my number line. I don't know if I have room. Okay, I'm not going to have room for my number line on here. I write too big. So let's just talk about this. Which number is the smallest number on here? Which number is the smallest? -10. So -10. Then what? -6. -1. 0. 2. Oh, I marked out the wrong 2. Did you see that? 8 and 9. Miss Ellis has lost her mind. It's no big deal. Y'all knew that a long time ago, right? Now we have to compare them. Greater than, less than. Greater than, less than. -10 is greater than or less than -2. -10 is greater than or less than -2. It's less than. -6 is greater than or less than 6. Less than. And -7 and -8 are our last two. -7 is greater than or less than -8. Greater than or less than. So -7 is greater than -8. Okay? That is all for the practice on that. Now we're going to look at our practice on absolute value. Not too hard. You all can handle it. Okay? Now, it says, I'm going to pull this up to me so I can see it. The table shows average low temperatures in January in one location during a 5-year span. Find the absolute value of the average January low temperature in 2009. So I'm going to do this. We have 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. Negative 3.2, negative 2. Okay, so we need the absolute value of 2009. So 2009 is negative 5.4. So the absolute value of negative 5.4, how far is 5.4 from 0? 5.4. So the absolute value of 2009 is 5.4. And it says, what is the absolute value of the January low temperatures of 2011? So 2011, what about 2011? Is 2011, how far is 3.8 from 0? 3.8. Okay, now we have these at the bottom. It says graph each number on the number line. Then use the number line to find each absolute value. So I'm not going to ask you to graph them on the number line, but we're going to find the absolute value of these 4 numbers. Okay, so there's 4 numbers we're finding the absolute value of. And then we're going to be finished with our notes for the day. You'll be watching for another video of fun and excitement with Mrs. Ellis doing practice. Are you ready? I know you are, because you all just love watching me. I know it's like the highlight of your day, right? Okay, so here we go. What is the absolute value of negative 4.5? What's the absolute value of negative 4.5? 4.5, very good. This video is really long. I'm sorry, guys. What is the absolute value of 1.5? 1.5, very good. You all are so smart. Okay, because Mrs. Ellis is the best teacher in the world, on your chat, you are going to answer the absolute value of 4 and the absolute value of negative 3 1/4. You're going to give me the absolute value of those 2 right there, okay? That is your problems you're doing for your chat for me for the notes, okay? Your notes chat. They all go in the same chat, but this is the prompt for the notes. So you'll just put my answers for notes, put those 2 in there, okay? I will see you later. Peace out, Girl Scout. Goodbye.